Some of you following this tutorial series have noticed IntelliSense as I enter code examples, also known as autocomplete. For example, var doc equals app active document. Var a equals doc channels, get by name, alpha 1. Notice the code suggestions appearing as I type. Many programming languages have this built into VSCode, but not ExtendScript. Now users are asking me how I have this. I will show you. To get this behavior, I've used type definition files from TypeScript. You don't need TypeScript to make this work, or even know what it is. But if you are curious, search YouTube. You'll find plenty. But that's another topic, and this tutorial won't require knowing anything about it. All we need is the files and knowing where to put them, which I'll explain. A user did the work of creating type definitions for ExtendScript and posted the files on GitHub. He also made a video about installing it with Node.js. That won't be needed either, but I suggest you watch the video to give credit where credit is due. I greatly appreciate his files and video, which made this solution possible. Links are in the description. Now let's make IntelliSense for Adobe apps. To start, follow the link to the GitHub page. Click the Code button. Select Download Zip. Once downloaded, extract the zip file. The result is a folder, Types for Adobe Master. This is a package for TypeScript installed with Node Package Manager. We don't need to use a package manager. We'll simply copy from this folder the files we need. I'll show you how. But first, because type definitions for each app vary, but use the same file name for the definitions, scripts for each app need their own subfolder. If you only write scripts for one app, Photoshop for example, this isn't an issue. I write scripts for Illustrator, InDesign, and Photoshop, so I have subfolders for each. Set up your workspace similar if needed. To demonstrate the lack of IntelliSense, see here when I refer to the app object. Var doc equals app dot. There are no code suggestions. We'll fix that. I'll go back to File Explorer to the location of the workspace files. In each app folder, make a subfolder named Types. Then go into the folder we downloaded, Types for Adobe Master. Notice there are folders for Adobe applications. We'll go into those in a moment. First, open the folder Shared. These files are type definitions for properties and methods common to all Adobe apps. The files we want have the extension .ts. Ignore the file tsconfig. Copy the TS files from the shared folder to each of the application types folders so the same files are repeated for each app. Then, for each app, copy the type definitions specific to it. Back in the folder downloaded, inside each app folder are subfolders for versions of the app. Go into the folder for the latest version and copy the file index.d.ts to the types folder for that application in your workspace. Notice the file name is the same for all apps. That's why we need separate folders for each app in the VS Code workspace. Otherwise, you might be writing a script for Photoshop, but had copied the type definitions for InDesign, and you'll get the wrong code suggestions. The last ingredient to make this work is a config file that isn't included in the download. The file name is jsconfig.json. You may already have this file in your VS Code workspace. If that's the case, don't replace it. More about that in a moment. I have a copy of the file that I'll add to the workspace. Then we'll have a look at it. To start, I'll put the file in the Photoshop folder. Having it at the root of the workspace doesn't work. But it doesn't go in the Types folder. Copy the file to the top of the App folder. Now, in VS Code, we'll view the file. This defines the configuration for compiler options, which IntelliSense uses. Module is none. Target is ES3, the older JavaScript standard that ExtendScript is based on. NoLib is true, and check.js is false. If you don't have this file already, pause the video here and create the file to appear exactly as shown. Otherwise, open the existing jsconfig file. It's likely there are other values not shown here. In that case, either add these values or edit any already in the file to match the values shown. Now save the file. Next, copy that file to the other app folders. Each needs the same config file. Remember, the file doesn't go in the Types folder. Now let's see if it works. I'll try Photoshop first. var doc equals app active document. var a equals doc channels get by name alpha 1. Looks good. Now InDesign. var doc equals app active document. var a equals doc channels. As you can see, IntelliSense is specific to the app. InDesign doesn't have channels like Photoshop does, but it does have swatches. Swatches, item by name, black. And get by name is item by name instead, just one of many subtle differences between the apps. Now VS Code helps us keep track of all that. Like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe so you're notified of future videos. Also, leave a comment. I always like to hear from you. All feedback is welcome. There are plenty of other tutorials. Click the video or playlist on screen for more. Thank you for watching. We'll do it again soon.